Right then, we're back for another one of these videos, I guess. Yeah, Canada for the Sebastian Vettel career mode, round number 7. And you join us for a one-shot qualifying setup. Setup? One-shot quali. It's just one-shot quali. Don't know where the word setup came from, but yeah, here it is again, I guess. Yeah, I don't really know what else to say, but other than yeah, we're back. I think this is the best intro I've ever done, ever, in the history of intros. So definitely you should go leave a like, subscribe maybe. Actually, no, subscribe first, then leave a like. That would be even better. But we're currently in P5 at the Canadian Grand Prix qualifying session. If you didn't watch the last race at Monaco, I recommend you should go and check that one out. It's through the final few corners now onto the straight. We didn't hit the wall of champions, and Lewis Hamilton picks up another pole position to add to his collection, and we come home in P4. I wonder where our teammate finished.
With qualifying finished, it's time to remind ourselves of our top 3. Hamilton, Bottas and Charles Leclerc. With qualifying wrapped up, we now have our grid lineup for the big race tomorrow. Be sure to join us then for what will no doubt be a fantastic race.
I'm not hinting anything, but we've got 2 Mercedes followed by 2 Ferraris, 2 Red Bulls, 2 Racing Points, 2 Toro Rossos, 2 Williamses. So interesting. Let's get into the race then for the Canadian Grand Prix. Taking the inside line and braking left. Never mind then. Looks like we're not going to be getting any tips or any driving advice then for this Grand Prix, as the cutscene was too short to even read the first 3 words. But let's get into it. Take it away.
Thank you all for joining us today for another exciting round of this championship season. It's one of the fastest races of the season here at the Circuit Gilles-Villeneuve, with around 60% of this 2.7-mile circuit taken at full throttle. There are 14 corners to navigate, the very last of which has its very own infamous history. Could be the cause of a safety car today. It's race day yet again, and joining me for a chat, Anthony Davidson. And our racers are certainly in for a rough day today. What will you be watching for as they go down into turn 1?
Well, the start of the race is always one of the most nerve-wracking parts. You have to hope that everyone is able to get off to a clean start, and this is possibly the trickiest part of the entire race. So many drivers in such a small space, and finding your braking point into turn 1 as well. It's a testament to the driver's skill that there aren't more incidents.
Let's run you through the driver grid order for today's exciting race. An immense lap from Lewis Hamilton yesterday puts him on pole position, and it's Valtteri Bottas that completes the front row. Considering the rest of the grid, we have
Look at Charles Leclerc,
Vettel, Max Verstappen and Albon, Perez, Stroll, Magnussen and Carlos
Interesting.
Sainz, Gasly, Kvyat, Nico Hülkenberg and Giovinazzi, Grosjean, Norris, Kimi Raikkonen and Daniel Ricciardo. Russell and Robert Kubica takes the last spot on the grid. And with preparations almost complete, let's head down to the track.
So then, not a good day for the Renault team. One of the drivers is starting in 18th. What does Jeff have to say about the matter? Let's hear what he has to say.
Okay, the run into turn 1 isn't too long, so the pack will be bunched up. Take care.
Thanks, Jeff, for the advice that I don't really care about. Anyway, we've got our setup on. It's going to be a simple one-stop. Obviously, in these 25% races, there's not much of a alternate strategy, but potentially a safety car could change things. So we are starting behind our teammate once again, and the 5 red lights are on, and they are off, and away we go. Run number 7 at the Canadian Grand Prix. It's a decent start initially, and then in the second phase of the start, we do get jumped a little bit by our teammate Charles Leclerc, who's currently going side by side with Valtteri Bottas. We got just a clean start currently in P4 where we qualified, but we're going to go down the inside of Valtteri Bottas, and that was really close. Now he goes around the outside of Charles Leclerc. Let's see if we can get a good run behind these two and follow him through, but we're going to have a go on our teammate, and we're going to go get on Bottas as well. We're currently 3 wide on the straight, and we're going to go down the inside. It's still 3 wide, and we managed to survive. Our teammate did as well, but he's dropped down to 4th place behind Bottas. And now, after a brilliant move down the inside of 2 cars, we're now going to have to try and chase the leader of Lewis Hamilton in the Mercedes. We've got yellow flags for, I'm not too sure who that is really. Could be just everyone going slowly into the hairpin. But we now got Valtteri Bottas gaining and gaining and gaining us. He's going to go down the inside into the final few corners. This could end it badly, as one of us could easily end up in the World Champions. But now Charles Leclerc is going to have a good run at us into turn 1. I'm going to go defensive to the inside, as Bottas is still there on the inside. So pretty much been side by side through almost the whole lap as he tucks in behind us, and this is allowing Lewis Hamilton to extend his gap into the in the lead. I believe 2 races ago he didn't finish due to an engine failure. I can't remember what track it was. I think it was I think it could have been China, or no, actually no, it was Spain. Sorry, it was Spain. But we now got Valtteri Bottas looking at us. He's going to try and go around the outside, but I'm not sure he's going to be able to get the move off. We cut him off a little bit there, but clean racing from us two so far, as Hamilton pulls out, and 5.1 second gap after 2 laps as we go a little bit deep into the hairpin. But don't lose a lot of time, as we will get a bit of a good exit onto the back straight. The run into the penultimate 2 corners, and then ultimately the World Champions, which we're going to have to avoid for 18 laps. So 18 times we will be negotiating this corner, and for one of them we'll be pulling into the pits as we have a massive slide on the curb. Luckily we didn't do what Kevin Magnussen done in qualifying, and we was able to catch the slide and continue on with our race in P2. But we are pulling away from Valtteri Bottas slightly and gaining on Lewis Hamilton, which is always good news, as obviously we saw Vettel's incident last year in, last F1 season, with him going deep into the corner and then rejoining in front of Lewis Hamilton and then picking up a 10-second penalty after pretty much leading the whole race. So let me know what you guys think of the incident, whether you think the penalty was harsh or whether you think he deserved the penalty. In my opinion, I think the penalty was quite harsh, but let's have a debate in the comment section and see what you guys think of it. I'm interested to know whether you think Vettel deserved the penalty or whether you think the stewards were quite harsh to give him 10 seconds added to his time. But anyway, let's hope that does not happen today, as we are actually closing down on Lewis Hamilton rather than having to defend from him. So we come across the line now to set a new fastest lap, a 1:11.9. Not the best lap, but it is it's a decent lap, I guess. We go 9/10 quicker than our personal best, extending our gap to Bottas, and hopefully Charles Leclerc can overtake him, and that'll be good for us in the constructors, as we currently lead the way on 192 points, I think. That is, what's that, 42 points ahead of Mercedes at 150, sorry, not 151. And yeah, currently on lap 4 now. It's a pretty quick lap round this track, so that's why there are more laps to counter the quick times around this track.
A new strategy is available on the MFD.
New strategy available. I see what that is on the straight. I'm going to assume it's pitting onto lap 6. I think that's 1 lap earlier than the scheduled pit stop. It is, and we're going to take the alternate strategy and try and do the undercut on some of these guys. However, it could backfire if we get caught in some traffic, maybe with the Williamses or the Alfa Romeos towards the back of the field. Coming into the final corners, lucky not to get a warning there. We did ride the curb a little bit. We're now only 2.9 seconds off Lewis Hamilton.
Gap to teammate behind is 3.4 seconds.
3.4 seconds separate ourselves from our teammates. However, the gap between us and Lewis is definitely coming down by a few tenths a lap, I think. So let's hope we can keep gaining and gaining on the Mercedes drive and see if the undercut could actually give us the advantage early on in our second stint. However, we'll have more tyre wear towards the end of the race, because Lewis is going to, I'm assuming, will pit lap 7 or 8. Jeff telling us to push. I'm assuming that's because we could be gaining on Lewis, but we've also got to hit Will on the grass and gone into neutral by accident. But yeah, Jeff telling us to push. I'm assuming that's because we are gaining, and also we are pitting next lap, so we'll get the confirmation from Jeff saying in this lap. So let's try and give him the best outlap we can do. But yeah, Lewis is going to have fresher tyres. Jeff confirming that we're going to be boxing this lap. But what I was going to say just before Jeff came across the radio was, we're pitting early will give us the advantage on fresher mediums compared to Hamilton's older softs. And then when Hamilton pits, he's going to have cold mediums compared to our preheated mediums. So we'll get the advantage of him there, but then towards the end of the race we'll have 1 lap older mediums than him. It won't be the tyre wear won't be too bad, only because it's a 25% race.
It'll need replacing if it takes too much damage.
But yeah, there will be a bit of a tyre difference between us two. We did knock our front wing off at turn 4, I believe it is, but it's not too much to make a change. We'll set it to auto, and if the game thinks it's a lot, then they'll change it. But I'm currently it's fine as it is. Pitting on lap 6 now, so we will be boxing this lap. Let's try not to speed in the pit lane, as it can be quite easy to misjudge a braking point into the pit lane, as I think we've just completely nailed that. Well, I say completely nailed it. It was a decent run to the pits. We're going to put the fuel to lean so we don't burn too much in the pit stop while we rev the engine, and also set the ERS to none so we can save some of the energy up and then use it to get back through the field. But we're the only one, I believe, to come into the pits. I don't believe, yeah, we are the only drivers who come into the pits. We're going to keep the fuel on lean, and we're going to come up right in the middle of this pack. So we're going to get some overtaking. We're going to have to do some overtaking as we go round the outside of Roman Grosjean. And there's more of our front wing gone. Roman Grosjean staying down the inside. We do cut the corner a little bit, but it's all okay. There was a little bit of understeers. We're going to go down the inside of Giovinazzi. Oh no, what happened there? Sorry, around the outside of Roman Grosjean, really nice and clean. We don't cut the corner, because I've never cut the corner before. And we're going to go for a late move on Antonio Giovinazzi, who closes the door.
Okay, clear.
And that's resulted in a spin. We get overtaken by Raikkonen and Grosjean, who are now going to go side by side and hold us up massively. These two are having a ding-dong battle here, and while we're wanting to put the foot down, and these two in front of us are holding us up. We're going to go for a double overtake down the inside of the Alfa and the Haas driver, and it's a lovely move despite our front wing damage. And Lewis Hamilton's into the pits. The gap was 2.8 seconds previous to my pit stop, and he's already coming out of the pits now. So the undercut really hasn't worked. I could feel the understeer going into the final corner, and we result in cutting the chicane in order to make the corner. But look how far out in front Lewis has come. He's already out the pit lane. However, he is behind a Red Bull in a racing point. I'm not sure if that Red Bull has actually pitted. As you can see, our end plate of our front wing in the middle of the track there. I don't know if you saw it when I looked back, but we've got Nico Hülkenberg, and I believe that's Pierre Gasly going side by side. No, sorry, yeah, it was Pierre Gasly, and the understeer is quite horrific actually with our front wing damage. We're going to put the fuel back into standard, and yeah, it's almost an orange front wing. It's like a mix between yellow and orange. So that battling with Roman Grosjean and Antonio Giovinazzi really hasn't helped our chances of winning this race, but we're going to push as hard as we can, as Hülkenberg and Gasly are going to try and go at it. We're going to try and go round the outside of Nico Hülkenberg. late movers. He doesn't leave us much room, but we force our way through on the outside. Charles Leclerc and Valtteri Bottas are both into the pits. It'd be interesting to see where they both come out. We're going to go to the outside of Gasly, almost 3 wide for a second, into the final corner now. We turn him a little bit early so we can make the corner with our damage. But it's going to be interesting if we can get ahead of Bottas and Leclerc. I believe we are going to come out comfortably in front of those two. Actually, I say comfortably, Bottas is right there. However, there is a car between himself and Leclerc, so that's not worked in the Ferrari favour, so pit stop's not going well for us at Ferrari. But now we've got Valtteri Bottas right behind us with his full front wing. We do have damage to both the left and the right, but the left picking up more of a knock. As he's going to move over to the left hand side, and once again we're going to have the inside line for this corner. Bottas is going to try and go around the outside. We do leave him the space respectively, and really clean racing from both of us so far in this race. On lap 9 now, we'll be starting lap 10 pretty shortly, and Hamilton leads us away. Let's hear for the gap for the driver in front.
There's static over the radio, say again. Hamilton is ahead of you, they're on fresh mediums. Their tyres are 1 lap old. The time last lap was a 1 minute 14.4.
So we won't know much about the gap. So Jeff just told us about the gap to the car in front with Lewis Hamilton. We won't find out. Well, we found out about his pace and tyre wear, but we won't find out about the gap until we cross the line. Haven't hit the World of Champions yet though after 10 laps, so it's a good performance from us. 7.2 seconds. We've lost 5 seconds colliding with Antonio Giovinazzi and getting held up in the traffic. You can see our end plate is still in the middle of the track.
Easy on the car. We can't sustain this level of damage.
Well, actually, Jeff, I can sustain this level of damage. It's not too bad. It's a mix between orange and yellow on the front and green and yellow on the right. So it doesn't feel too bad, but I can definitely feel the effects of understeer. As Valtteri Bottas is going to have the DRS once again. I'm going to let him go to the... I was going to let him go to the inside, but he chose to go to the outside. Didn't quite pull up alongside to make a move, but he's definitely set himself up better for a move at the hairpin potentially. You can see that proximity arrow dancing around the bottom of my car. On the bottom of the screen there, you can see him in the mirrors. You can see him on the right and the left mirror, obviously being behind us. And you didn't get the best of exits through the hairpin of the penultimate few corners, but we are going to pull it up all the way up into overtake to just keep ahead of the Mercedes driver with the straight line speed he has, plus the DRS. So that's going to give him an advantage as we go quite slowly actually into the penultimate corner, missing the World of Champions thankfully. But this could allow Bottas to go for a move up the inside, as I believe we are losing the time now to Lewis Hamilton. We do go wide. That's allowing Valtteri Bottas to look up the inside. On lap 11 out of 18 now, only a few laps to go. Let's see if we can hold Valtteri Bottas behind us and keep the car in one piece, unlike Monaco and Baku where we had heavy damage towards the end of the race. And the effects of understeer are really kicking in now with the medium tyres. So we brushed the wall again, but hasn't got us a good exit at all. As we go so defensive, we actually go into the grass. We give Bottas the room for the outside, but decides to back out of it again. So once again, we're holding off the Finnish driver in the Mercedes, while Charles Leclerc is gaining on us while we squabble away, and the gap in front's now 9 seconds. So unless Hamilton does some blistering corner cutting, I don't think we're going to be able to win this race. But however, we do have the fastest lap, so we are going to get a point. An extra point to our wherever we finish in this race, whether it's 3rd, 4th or 5th maybe, but I think the Red Bull, or I believe it's Max Verstappen, is too far back to have a go at us in this battle. But we've now broken out of the DRS range. Shut up, Jeff. We've now broken out of the DRS range of Valtteri Bottas, which is really good. So hopefully we can start pushing on these medium tyres, despite the damage we've got to our front wing, and try and keep the gap above 1 second to Valtteri Bottas, and give Leclerc the opportunity to try and overtake him and get onto the podium. But yeah, the gap really close between the DRS range and, well, not DRS range, 1.028 seconds. So if we just keep pushing through these final few quarters in the second half of Sector 2, then we should hopefully keep the gap above 1 second. We failed to do that. It's now 8 tenths. So he will have DRS on this straight. But our teammate of Charles Leclerc is gaining and gaining and gaining on this fight. That's why it'd be best for him if we were to break the DRS window between myself and Bottas, because then Bottas won't be getting the DRS of us, so it'll give Leclerc an advantage. But looks like Leclerc's going for a move, or looked for a move on Bottas, but couldn't quite make it stick. And we've got yellow flags on the straight, and it's a Red Bull. One of the Red Bulls have retired. I believe that's Alex Albon. We'll have to wait and see and get confirmation from the game when it comes up at the top of your screen. Any minute now it should say, oh, it was Albon. So Max Verstappen's the only Red Bull in this race, and he's catching up behind on this battle. But Bottas with his front wing and setup, probably, babe, I don't know, but just trying to think of excuses at this point. But he's gained a lot of time on the straight, as you can see the Red Bull in the mini-map there, pulling off to the side at turn 1 and retiring the car. I'm assuming an engine failure, as there was no other contact with any other cars. So unfortunate for him not to be scoring points in this race. I believe he was 6th or 7th in this race.
We have 5 laps of fuel remaining.
As there's Jeff coming over the radio once again telling us we have 5 or 6 laps of fuel left.
Your front wing is damaged. Expect a lot of understeer unless we replace it. A new strategy is available on the MFD.
Jeff requesting a strategical change here. He wants us to pit for soft tyres. We're not going to do that. We're just going to have to fight the damage that has been done. We've crashed into the wall of champions, so that could be foreshadowing a potential championship winning driver right here, as Bottas is going to try and go around the outside of us with our broken front wing. We're going to have to lift off the accelerator a little bit as we brush the wall again. It's not the first time we've done that this race. We're going to have to put in an overtake just to keep up with Bottas, who's going to go for a move down the inside. We're going to try and hold it round the outside, but what a move he's been able to pull off, and now our podium's at risk. Without Charles Leclerc looking for a move on the outside, but we're going to look for a move down the inside of Bottas. It's a late lunge with contact, but no major damage done to either of our cars. But now we're going to have the DRS and overtake mode. We're going to pull over to the left hand side, it will be the outside, and we swoop past him. He doesn't have the DRS, and that probably could be conserving fuel or ERS. But now through the penultimate corner, not crashing into the wall of champions this time, we do get the DRS and come across the line to start lap number 15 out of 18 in this 18 lap race at Canada. In terms of the championship, I think this race will kind of squish everyone together. Hamilton will gain more points than us, but also Leclerc just squish everyone together, and Hamilton's going to get an advantage of us finishing ahead, obviously. But Leclerc, I believe, is 5 points or so behind us. It's not having the best of races in P4 at the moment, and is allowing, and it will allow Valtteri Bottas to move further up the field. But we brushed the wall again there after having not used a flashback. That didn't happen, and now we're going to go side by side again with the Finnish driver, who couldn't quite do it down the inside after a little bit of contact was made. But maybe he'll have a go into the hairpin, as we actually brake really late there, going so wide, and that's going to allow Valtteri Bottas and Charles Leclerc to go through. But because we went wide, we get such a good exit, but we're not going to have DRS because the DRS activation point is before the corner. We're going to pull it up into hot lap to try and keep up with this, guys. But Charles Leclerc and Valtteri Bottas are going to go side by side into the final corner. This could be really intense. It could end in a bit of tragedy, but Charles Leclerc decides to back out, and we're going to go for a move on our teammate after he backed out of that overtake with Bottas. And now Verstappen probably might get driver of the day again, as he did in 2015, or pretty much every race, is gaining on this fight. Charles Leclerc couldn't quite do it down the inside, but now we've got to, with our damaged front wing, try and gain in on Valtteri Bottas, who looks to be pulling away already. So this has not gone well for us. It was really a defending game, I would admit. We are holding up these guys. And we pick up even more damage. Damage even, a damage more even pick, up pit. Bottas is getting away. We haven't used any flashbacks this race. And if you think you have used a flashback, you're wrong. That's just editing, you know. There were just previous attempts at this race. And then, so like this is a real legit attempt with no flashbacks. I don't even know what a flashback is, to be honest. So, I haven't used any of them. I mean, moving on. We don't talk about flashback. We don't. Yeah, let's just ignore the flashback conversation. Hate me as much as you want in the. Actually, maybe not as much as you want in the. So, yeah, this race is like no flashbacks have been used in this race at all. Hate me as much as you want in the comments, but maybe not as much as you want. But yeah, if you have a problem, then please feel free to contact me either on Discord or PlayStation or message me in the comments. But I don't know what you've been watching, but I've not used a flashback. Maybe you've been drinking too much, or you're sat there with your popcorn, or whether this is on your phone or your laptop, or you're eating dinner, doing your homework. Then I've not used a flashback. You've just been doing too much work, or you're a bit tired, and you're just, you're seeing things. So let's gloss over the fact that my driving abilities have been trash in the final few corners. Honestly, I feel like I've just, I don't know, but the damage is definitely having an effect with practically a full orange front wing. And I'm going to go side by side with our teammates as there's contact. By side with our teammates with our orange front wing. Let's make sure there's no contact, because I don't think we've actually touched this race. So that's good to see. Bottas has just completely stormed off, and we're struggling in third place with our damaged wing. Plus, everyone's got better tyres. And Lewis Hamilton comes across the line to start his final lap of the race. There seems to be a bit of a gag of the cars in the middle sector battling it out for, I believe that could be just for the top 10 maybe? Around 10th place. We hit the wall on the exit, but hopefully we're going to come across the line to start the final lap of this race. It's going to be a really intense lap. I really think it's going to be a good one. I'm going to talk as quick as I can for this whole lap and see how many words I can get out of my mouth in a minute, I don't know, 15 seconds, because that's how long it's taken me to do a lap now. We got our ERS in 3, that's the high mode of ERS. We've got our fuel in standard because we've got 0.3 laps of fuel left. I really like, I don't know why I'm talking really quickly, but nothing's really happening, so let's try and talk as quick as I can, and let's go through our tyre wear. So our tyre wear's got 38% on the front left, 30 on the front right, 37 on the rear left, and 36 on the rear right. Is they're a little bit getting pretty worn in the tyres, but we've got Charlotte K going for a move down the inside into this corner again. I don't know what turn it is, but I'm going to guess turn 8 or 9 maybe, I don't know. But it's after the DRS straight, and I'm talking really quickly now. I don't really know what to say, so I'm trying to make things up. We're using 50% on the brake bias and 67 on the differential, so that's just about my setup, as we are now in second gear, fifth gear, third gear, fourth gear, as Lewis Hamilton wins the Canadian Grand Prix. Another victory for the Mercedes drivers. Valtteri Bottas is going to come across the line in P2. I don't know why I'm talking really quick, because nothing's really happening. I do not know why I'm talking this quickly, as we Valtteri Bottas can come across the line in P2, and we're going to come through the final 3 corners. Not going to hit the World Champions, as we've used no flashbacks in this race, and we're going to come across the line. We're going to start weaving now. It's going to be P3 for Sebastian Vettel.
Okay, pick up rubber and bring it
There was
home.
literally no need for that at the end, was there? But, you know, let's see what the commentator's saying. Give all the praise to Mercedes time, I guess.
So Mercedes have won it, and what a great race it was. Talk to me, Ants. What was it that set them apart from the competition today?
Well, this was a real team victory. They put together a solid strategy today that appeared well suited to the conditions out on track. The driver did everything that was expected of them in the moment to really execute the team's plan to perfection. A shining example of how F1 really is a team sport.
So after a magnificent race, we can now see the drivers making their way to the podium. Once again, it's the Silver Arrows who take top spot. A well-earned victory for Mercedes.
This is so I don't get copyrighted again by YouTube. London.
So then, it's time to see how this result affects the Drivers' Championship. Our championship leader is still sat at the top of the standings, but their rivals have made up some solid ground today. After an incredible day of racing, who was your driver of the day, Ant?
For me, it's Kimi Raikkonen, someone who definitely doesn't get enough attention for how well he performs out on the track.
Let's move on to the constructors. The lead at the top comes down after a strong weekend from the challenging pack. Another team that will be satisfied with this Grand Prix is Alfa Romeo, whose good result moves them further up the championship. Well, that was certainly an incredible weekend of racing. Be sure to join myself and Ant for more exciting Formula One action soon.
So Lewis Hamilton wins the Canadian Grand Prix, followed by Valtteri Bottas, myself in P3 with the fastest laps of picking up 16 points there. Charles Leclerc done in 4th place, Max Verstappen, Sergio Perez, Lance Stroll, Kimi Raikkonen getting driver of the day again. Danny Kvyat and Carlos Sainz round up the top 10, and finishing just outside the top 10, Kevin Magnussen, Roman Grosjean, Lando Norris in 13th, Nico Hulkenberg, Pierre Gasly in 15th. George Russell finishing up in 16th, and after a disappointing result for Renault, Daniel Ricciardo down in 17th, Robert Kubica in 18th place, and after our collision, Antonio Giovinazzi down in 19th, and due to an engine failure, Alexander Albon rounds off the grid in 20th place with a DNF from 6th place. Onto the standings then, as we can, our gap comes down to 4 points there over Lewis Hamilton, and Charles Leclerc, it falls 24 points behind us at the top, and Valtteri Bottas now moves in front of Max Verstappen, along with Kimi Raikkonen, Kvyat and Stroll also making up places. Onto the constructors, Alfa Romeo move their way in front of McLaren by a point, and I wouldn't say extend, but our gap is still the gap's come down actually in the constructors. Mercedes 193 points, and ourselves 27 points in front on 220. That's going to be it for the Canadian Grand Prix in the Sebastian Vettel career mode. Goodbye.